Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be looking at the Capium's charity module, and we'll just go over the key features within this module. So what we've done here is we've combined the bookkeeping system alongside the accounts production system. So you'll notice that the bookkeeping is adapted for charities because we've incorporated funds here. And no matter which transaction you do, whether it be income, expenditure, or donation, it will always be tracked against a fund. You're also able to add any number of funds here. So we, by default, give you a general fund, a restricted fund, and an endowment fund. But you are able to add any number of funds that you require. Once you've added the funds, you can start using the bookkeeping system where if you want to add an invoice, you can fill in this template to add in the invoice, and you'll see the fund name when you are filling in the invoices. You can also track activity in this section. So when you track activity, the system will automatically uh, classify this, and you will then be able to see your income and expenses per activity. So uh, we also have recurring invoices here, and recurring invoices can be scheduled to repeat either on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly, yearly, or a custom scheduler. So, depending on whatever your requirement is, that invoice recurring system will keep repeating itself. Following that, we've got quotations, which are you can produce quotations and convert them into invoices, and you have credit notes. And on top of all of that, you have your receipt system where you will then be able to add receipts and match them with invoices. Going into expenses, expenses are like a reflection of invoice. So when you go into the expenditure, you'll see an expenditure overview section. And under bills, you will then be able to add bills for the charity. Again, you'll see activity at the center of this, where you will be able to track your activity-wide spend and income alongside donations as well. And then you have your fund name, where both income and expense will track based on funds as well. We have recurring bills, which has the same functionality as recurring invoices, debit notes for anything that you've returned, and payments for any bills that you've raised. Going into tasks, you'll see that there is the journal section here, and in journals, you will then be able to add a journal entry. You are able to add attachments for your journals, and this would be same for any other transaction. So for your income, expenditure, and journals, you will be able to add attachments. A thing I forgot to mention earlier is that in income and expenses, you have the option to do bulk imports, by which you are able to bring in data from an Excel file into Capium. Now, going into bulk edit, as you've added transactions, you will be able to bulk recategorize those transactions. So, for example, if I have any donations and gifts, I will then be able to allocate that to another account. There is the activities, and here is where you can create new activities and track activities and the spend on the activities. And you will have the sponsored events, where you will be able to add sponsored events, and you will then be able to track the donations as per sponsor events as well. Now, going into donations, you will see overview, and this is your donation overview page. You are also able to create donations, either one at a time or in bulk. And when you create a donation, you're able to add an attachment to it as well. Now, in donations, we also have a section for donation in kind. So for that, you will then have your donation, the credit and the debit for that donation, and the total amount of the donation. You are then also able to track that donation based on the sponsored events or activity, so that fulfills that full cycle. So you'll still be able to track your donations for your charity. We have recurring donations, so you will be able to set this up in place where if you have a direct debit set for your charity, and on top of that, there is also the gift aid section. So in the gift aid section, you'll be able to claim gift aid for any donations that you've created in Capium. So the way this works is you need to have your donors added in the contact section, and when you add your donors, you will need to ensure that those donors have selected gift aid donor. And once they have given you the gift aid declaration, you will then be able to claim gift aid for that particular donor. And that can be directly submitted to HMRC from our donation section here. There's also the gift aid setting section. So for gift aid setting, you will then be able to uh, put your charity profile there and update that as per your charity details. Going into contacts, you have your customers, suppliers, and donors here, and all of these use a similar sort of a format to bring your customers, suppliers, and donors in. All three of these can also be imported in bulk, so that option is still available here. You have bank, in which you have unlimited bank feeds as part of Capium. So you are able to add as many bank accounts as needed. And as you add those bank accounts, you can link them with the relevant banks and it will automatically fetch transactions. And you're able to bulk categorize those transactions using cache coding, import, and cache coding, and then the manual ways to reconcile. So there are both ways to do this. There's also the bank transfers, which tracks transactions between banks, and you will be able to see sort of like interbank transfers in the application. Then you see bank feeds, where you will be able to see the bank feeds that are existing and the bank feeds that have expired in this section here. Now, going into fixed assets, we have a fixed asset register, which you will be able to track your fixed assets in, and this can track your asset value, the depreciation, amortization, and everything else for that asset. So it produces a report like this with all the details on this. My asset hasn't started its depreciating cycle yet, so you don't see that yet. Uh, so in the fixed asset register, so uh, between these two, you're able to see the asset and download sort of like your asset voucher of sort, and you can then go into the fixed asset register to enable and toggle on the depreciation here. So again, when you go into here, you can select whether the asset has depreciation, and once that's been selected, you start the depreciation date, select the method of depreciation, and the rate of depreciation as well. When you select auto depreciation, it will then automatically depreciate the asset at the end of the financial year for the charity. Now, going into funds, we've covered this briefly earlier. You can see your fund overview here, your fund list, and the interfund, the transfers between funds can be tracked here as well. Now, following that, the application by default is MTD compliant. So if your charity is VAT registered, you are able to submit the VAT returns from within Capium. We also support, in the VAT section, we also support the bridging VAT. So if you just have the box 1 to 9 figures, input VAT and output VAT, we are able to do a direct submission from here as well. Now, going into reports, you are able to run a number of reports. So an overview of reports, customer suppliers and donation reports, and some additional reports where you can get your nominal ledger and account details. Uh, Now we could move into the accounts production side of things. Now, you have two ways to produce accounts in Capium's charity module. Either you use our bookkeeping system where it can import the transactions from the bookkeeping system. Alternatively, you will click on these three vertical dots, click import, and you can bring in a trial balance from a third-party source. Once you've done that, you will need to do that for 2 subsequent years, so your current year and your past year, and you can toggle the periods on top here. So you can choose your years in the top when you toggle the period here. So once you've done that for 2 subsequent years, you will then go into the management section, and you will see that the system would automatically generate the statement of financial activities and the balance sheet. You can again toggle this. So if your charity operates on a cash basis, your statement of financial activities would change with a cash flow statement. Now, once this is generated, we are able to produce the annual accounts. So this is how your the funds will be split out. So you have the donation and legacies per fund type, and it will also compare it to the prior year. Now, to produce the annual accounts, you go into the notes section and you select all the relevant notes for this charity. So you go through these notes on the left hand side here, and as you select them with this checkbox, you're able to customize the note in there. And as you've updated everything in the notes section, you can then go in and copy paste your trustee reports and copy paste your independent examiner report. Please note that you would have to copy and paste a report which is an unformatted text. So when pasting, you have to make sure that it's not formatted, and that just makes sure that the accounts are generated smoothly. Once these two are done, so once you put all the relevant notes, trustee report and the independent examiner report if necessary, and same applies to audit report if necessary, you simply then go to annual accounts, and in annual accounts, you are then able to generate report. Now, when you generate a financial report, it would appear a bit like this here. So I'll just wait for it to generate. Now, in this, it will have the name of your charity, your trustee report, statement of financial activity, statement of financial position, your balance sheet, and the notes to the financial statements. So all of that can be seen here. Now, because this is a template one, I haven't selected all the right elements here, but as you do, it would reflect on your accounts. You can also put a logo here, but if you don't want it, and if you just want plain accounts, you can also do it like how my first page is. So just have white on black and then have no logo. So it's entirely up to you how you want to produce those accounts. Even these boxes, some people like them, some people don't. So you are able to customize it. So at this stage, it's like working on a Word document. So you could, for example, select everything, right click, and you will then be able to remove the boxes and do a number of other things here. So it's quite customizable at this stage. Once you're happy with it, you could just click save on the top right hand side here. And once you've clicked save, your accounts are then visible to you. Now that account has to be those accounts have to be approved, and to do that, you simply download and send it for approval. Alternatively, you can also just if you have, for example, once you've downloaded it, if it's approved, then you just submit it to the Charities Commission thereafter. We also have the ability for you to customize your chart of account codes here. So if you want custom codes to override your existing Capium codes, you are able to do that here. And on top of that, there is this manage section, and under manage section, you'll have your charity profile, the charity preferences, opening balances, and all the other information that you need to set up the bookkeeping system. We have a thorough onboarding process once you purchase the software, so you will be walked through the entire module and we'll help you set this up. If you have any further queries regarding the actual product or any support, please reach out to our CST team, which is cst@capium.com. If you have any support related queries, you could also reach out to our support team by raising a ticket or reaching out to support@capium.com. Thank you for your time.